So part of the Simply Sensible lifestyle is to have good, solid, simple cooking techniques. And part of what I'm going to do tonight is show you how to make oven roasted rosemary chicken with truffle honey sweet potato mash. So I'm going to start off actually with the sweet potato mash. They take the longest time, so I try to sequence things when I cook. So this will take the longest, and then I'll finish up with the chicken. So it's very, very simple. You know, I don't rub this with any oil or anything. Basically, I just take raw sweet potatoes. What I want to do is I want to allow this to cook in the oven for a nice long time so the natural sweetness of the sweet potato will develop. That's going to be fantastic once you put it into a mashed potato product. So I'm going to mix it. I'm going to basically just put this in the oven. I have it at 375 degrees, and it goes from anywhere from 45 minutes to as long as an hour. But a lot of it depends on the size of the potato. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'm going to cook it till it's nice and tender. So now let's get to the rosemary chicken. Again, it's a classic recipe. It's going to drive a lot of flavor. I'm going to use some nice garlic, some rosemary. I'm going to hit it with just a little lemon to kind of spruce up the flavor. And then I'm going to let it marinate. So we're going to make the marination. I'm going to pour it over the chicken. And we're going to let it sit in the refrigerator for an hour or so. Actually, the best way to really do this is you actually want to make the marinade ahead of time. And on something like this, because there's chicken, and chicken by itself isn't really flavorful, but by giving this, you're giving it a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra flavor, and this is going to allow you to be able to have a nice, healthy dish without adding a lot of salt. So let's start out with the marinade. So I chopped some garlic. I'm going to take some garlic with some rosemary, and I'm going to take a lemon, again, to kind of brighten it up. The acidity will make it have a nice burst of freshness and refreshing herb flavor. Very simple. You really don't need these too fine. Just kind of a rough chop. You can smell that rosemary while chopping it. Very nice, strong flavor. I'm going to take these and just put them in a bowl here. Take a cup or so of olive oil and some fresh chopped garlic. Then, I'm going to take a little bit of lemon, but I'm going to use it in two ways. First of all, let's mix this up. I'm going to add a little bit, put it inside my marinade. And then I'm going to take a little bit and actually squeeze the other half over my chicken. This again just adds an extra layer of flavor to the product, to the chicken. And I sort of cheat. I want to give this chicken the best chance in the world to absorb all the flavor, so I'm actually just going to take a knife and just poke a few holes in it. So now I've put a few extra holes in it so it can absorb all the marination. And then I'm going to take this marination, and again, just make sure it's nice and blended, and I'm going to take it and pour over the top. Again, the term marination, at the end of the day, it means to soak. So I want enough to kind of soak the chicken and saturate it with all this extra love and flavor. That looks good. I always like to cheat. When it comes down to marinating, meats, vegetables, or whatever it is that I'm marinating, I try to massage it in and give it an extra piece of love, because really at the end of the day, if the food looks good and doesn't taste good, it doesn't do you any good. So I actually set this in the refrigerator. I covered up, set it in the refrigerator, and I really wanted to marinate at least 3 hours, a minimum of 3 hours. I think after you start getting past 3 hours, sometimes the rosemary can get too strong. But I'm going to allow it, and then I'm going to let it sit in there probably for an hour, and then I'm going to turn it over. Because I want to make sure that the top and all parts of the chicken absorbs all that marinated flavor. So I'm gonna take it. So should I take it out? I'm gonna take it out of the refrigerator. So now the chicken is marinated. It's been there for over 3 hours. I've turned it once so that you can make sure you've absorbed all the flavor. So I'm going to bring it out and bring it back up to room temperature before putting it into the oven. So now that it's thawed and it's gotten back up to room temperature, I have one final step. I'm just going to hit this just with a little salt. The beauty of this classical recipe is that it has so much flavor, so much intensified flavor that you don't have to put a lot of salt. And that's really the key to living a well-balanced, simply sensible lifestyle. So I'm going to take this. Again, just getting one last final rub of that marination. It's like just rubbing it in. This is another layer of massage and another layer of love. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the sheet pan. I have my oven already preset and ready to roast at 375 degrees. Again, I want to evenly place that on the tray so it all can get a nice golden. And through the magic of television, voila, we have golden brown rosemary chicken. So now pull this beautiful chicken out of the oven. I'm gonna plate it up and then move on to my next course and finish up my mashed potatoes. So this is beautiful. It smells as good, it tastes as good as it looks. I like to finish this off with just a little sprig of rosemary at the top. Just kind of over there in the middle so everybody can recognize that it is rosemary chicken. That's beautiful. So now it's time to finish up those honey truffle sweet mashed potatoes. I'm going to take them out of the oven. I've already checked on them to make sure they were nice and tender. So I'm going to allow them to cool. I'm going to let them cool probably 10 minutes or so. I want to make sure that they're nice and hot, but what happens once they cool, the skin sort of comes apart, comes away from the actual meat of the potato. So as the potato begins to cool, naturally skin starts separating from the meat of the potato. I mean, I'm literally just taking this and just kind of opening it up, and scooping the potato out. See? So now the next step is really to smash the potatoes. So go. Smell that wonderful smell of roasted potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes. So I smash these nice, soft. Now it's about adding the extra bit of flavor to it. So I'm going to take my honey, drizzle. Okay, and then I'm going to take some truffle oil. So let me explain to you a little bit about truffles. Truffles are basically mushrooms that are grown underground. You know, traditionally you found them mostly in Italy, but now you found them also in France, as well as I think Oregon and maybe Idaho here in the States, or Wyoming. And The reality of them is pigs were the ones that originally smelled these underneath the ground. They stopped using pigs and they started going to truffle, treating dogs, because the pigs will eat them all up. And then once you taste it, you'll understand why. So I'm going to take my truffle oil, and now it's just really about mixing this all up. So I'm going to put the finishing touches on the honey truffle sweet mashed potatoes. So final drizzle of honey over the top. And this is how you maintain a simply sensible lifestyle. By eating moderately, by eating healthy foods, well balanced. You know, here we have the sweet potato mash, we have the rosemary chicken, and we have steamed asparagus. Bon appetit.